All right, so in this video, we're going to talk about why, these little bullshit excuses that everybody makes all the time. And look, I'm not exempt from this. I do this too. Everybody does it. But you need to understand that you're doing it, right? The first step in solving a problem is admitting that you have a problem and that you have some kind of behavior that's not good, and essentially like recognizing these excuses for what they are, which is excuses. Now, you might think that they're good reasons, quote unquote, good reasons for why you are broke or why you are fat or why you haven't had sex in 5 years or why you like have some horrible skin condition, right? Or like whatever, any kind of problem that you have in any way that your life is not ideal, you can come up with a good reason about why it's not your fault, why it's your parents' fault, or why you have a genetic disease, or why it's a chemical imbalance, or why you were abused when you were a little kid. And I'm not making light of any of these things, but you have to understand that at the end of the day, like, they're just excuses, you know? And again, like, I'm not trying to like make light of like traumatic events people have been through, but like at the end of the day, like, let's go step it up a little bit. Like, it's time to move on and make shit happen in your life. Otherwise, like, what are you just looking for pity from people? And look, I do this a lot too, right? So like my personal way that I do this, and maybe this will give you some insight in how you might do it, is that the type of lifestyle that I live where I'm on the road all the time, or actually, I've got an even better one. All right, so a couple of years ago I was dating this girl and I really liked this girl. She was beautiful, like our families were friends, and I thought that it had a lot of potential. Okay, we went on a couple dates and it was like, oh my God, chemistry like through the roof. She was super hot, we got along great. She's Jewish, I'm Jewish also. And I was like, oh my God, this is like going somewhere, this is great. Anyway, she sent me a text one day after we'd been gone on a couple dates, and I thought things were going fine. She sent me a text, she's like, hey, I don't want to see you anymore, goodbye, and like blocked me, essentially. And I was like, gutted, like really gutted. Even though it was only for a couple weeks, I was like relatively gutted for the short time that we were dating. Now, like, I'm, young, like good looking, healthy male, so like I was able to get over it. But at the time, I started doing some research and I was like, I forget what it was. Oh, I researched like how to pass what's called a shit test. Okay, now like without getting into the whole like pickup culture, a shit test, and like whatever you think about this, like just take the point, okay? A shit test is essentially what a woman will do to a man where she likes you, and then she'll like maybe give you a little attitude or like flirt with another guy in front of you. Basically like this unconscious behavior where she just wants to see like if you're gonna lose it or not, like if you're gonna lose your shit and if you're really like secretly like a little baby or something. Try not to swear. And that's called a shit test, right? If you pass the shit test, then the girl will kind of like check a box in her mind and say like, okay, he's a strong man, like he's worthy of my attention, essentially. And again, like regardless of what you think of the pickup community, just take the point, which is that I was researching this. Anyway, I found this community of men who like, it's called the red pill community, and like, I don't want to get too much into it, but basically they have a very cold view of like interaction between the sexes. And like I read a bunch of stuff there that kind of just like made me very sad about ever finding my like one true love, right? Kind of like demotivated me from dating for like sadly like 2 years. I was just like didn't want anything to do with girls, really. Like I'm not gay or anything, but like, and I'm not ugly either, thank God, and I'm fairly charming, and like it's not like I didn't have opportunities, but at any time that I like could see that it was kind of going there with a girl, I would just kind of like lose my motivation, because I would think to myself, well, what's the point, because the game is just screwed, right? So anyway, I used that as an excuse to like deny myself the pleasure, or really the like the human enjoyment of women, right? And finally, I got over that. Like, essentially, I was hanging out with a friend of mine one day, and like, a hot girl walked by, and like, he's like, damn, check her out, right? And I was like, yeah, she's hot, but like, I wouldn't want to talk to her anyway. I said some like depressing thing, right? And he's like, bro, come on, hot girl like that, you're telling me you wouldn't enjoy like talking to her and going out with her and like, you know, getting physical with her? Like, really? Like, that's just an excuse. And when he said that, I didn't really know this guy that well, but like when he said that, I was like, holy shit, this guy's right. I would enjoy talking to that girl. And I just thought, man, I wasted 2 years of my life just like being bitter and depressed, right? So anyway, what does this have to do with these little bullshit excuses? Like, that's an extreme example of a belief that I had that like held me back for years. Yours probably are like not that dramatic and probably like, what the hell is this guy talking about? Yours are probably like, oh, I didn't go to the gym because I didn't have time. Or I didn't, you know, make my videos for the day. I didn't do my course material for the day because little Timmy needed me to help him with his homework and I helped him with his homework. Or my husband needed me to like do the laundry, like whatever. Or my wife asked me to take out the garbage, right? Really sexist examples. But anyway, you get the idea, which is that like these reasons that you have are just excuses. And once you view them like that, again, regardless of whether or not they're true, maybe you really had some legitimate thing that like you actually couldn't do whatever you said it was you were going to do. But when you have the belief that they're just excuses, your mind will unconsciously work to nip them in the bud, and you'll just automatically kind of change your behavior. All right, so essentially the point of this video is just recognize that they are excuses. Even if they seem like the most legitimate, justified reasons in the world for you, you have to believe that they actually are excuses. And then once you have that belief, then you're actually going to be able to do something about it and change. Okay? Good talk.